G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today we're having a look at the F7F Tiger Cat, but we're going to do something a little bit unconventional. For a start, we're going to rush and strafe ground targets. Yes, that's right. We're going to do perhaps one of the most annoying, or perhaps most interesting things you can possibly do in an F7F. Now, I'll get into this a little bit later, but one of the good things about the F7F is it has really good frontal guns. Really a lot of forward-facing firepower. And so you can actually go and strafe pillboxes. And this is something that I've done to, try and get a couple of upgrades on this plane. Because it is a little bit of a struggle going for fighters, especially if you're getting put up against K4s and TAR-152s all the time. And sometimes just taking out a couple of pillboxes, especially in a plane with good frontal guns, is actually not a terrible idea. Now, obviously you have to be a little bit careful, don't expect any kills, and try not to be a burden to your team. If you're going to get some kills, try and at least, even the ticket drain out a little bit so that you can buy your team a bit of time or do something like that. You can see me here trying to strafe a medium tank, and it just doesn't work. But one thing that the F7F is really, really good at is pushing head-ons, and generally people that go for the 84s are either in stock planes or just not very good to start off with. So I push a quick head-on with the K4, and then I push another head-on with this K4, and come out on top with minimal damage. It is literally as simple as that. And because I killed them, the 84 and myself were able to clean up the rest of the ground targets there, and we were actually able to bring this victory quite swiftly. And because Normandy is just one of those maps that happens to be good for that, it's, very nice, quick, and easy victory. Anyway, ladies and gents, on to the main event. We are on Operation Iskra, which is the Lake Ladoga map, if I'm not mistaken. This map, for me, it seems to be a good map in general. I am generally enjoying the map. It tends to be just working perfectly for me, especially if I'm flying heavy fighters, which I have been doing a lot lately. The Dornier 335 especially. And the Tiger Cat is no exception. I've been able to climb off to the side on my own and with zero disturbance, which is beautiful. Just exactly what you need in a heavy fighter. You need to be above the enemy and you need to be faster. But occasionally, you'll have a few bogeys with you. For starts, the KI-84 right in front of me and the two 109s. Now this KI-84 decides to do a left-hand turn and then a right-hand turn in front of my guns. And this just gives me a little bit of extra time to adjust my aim and take him out in a single quick burst. Now, I know I've got a P-51 up here, and I'm going to be needing that guy a lot. That 109 and any other enemies that are nearby are going to inflict a lot of damage on me if I can't keep my speed. Now, thankfully, I'm not the only one in this engagement, of course, and I've positioned myself so that I'm not. Now, this 109 goes for a dive to pick up a little bit of speed, and he then levels out to pretty much get taken out by me. That's a sure death sentence, especially if you're in a K4. I managed to get some whopping hits into him, and he just doesn't evade. And honestly, I have no idea why. He could have easily escaped that situation by putting his plane into, say, a left-hand turn and a slight dive. But not to worry. We've got ourselves a second kill quite easily. And it's not terribly difficult to rack up kills if you push head-ons in the F7F, but if anyone decides to evade, or people are playing energy or turning with you, that's one thing that you can't really escape. And for the most part, the Tiger Cat has to be played as a fast and heavy fighter. Play your altitude, play your speed, play your energy, and you should come out okay. The plane itself, so far, in my case, is stock, mostly. I have the fuselage, I have the compressor, and I have or I think I have something else, maybe like an engine upgrade. But I have a couple of performance upgrades, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is stock. Stock guns, no engine injection, and no ordnance. But this plane can seem to perform at a roughly 5.0 level without any upgrades. So you're not going to have too many issues. You are going to need to play a little bit passively, a little bit cautiously. You need to use teammates, and you need to be a little bit strict with your maneuvers. You can't really afford to go energy fighting, and I've found that out the hard way many times already in this plane. The plane itself is reasonably strong, actually. You can see me there taking on a G14 who's probably low on energy. Maybe I stole that kill, but I really can't tell. He may have just shut his engine off and tried to cool. I push ahead on with this BF-109K4. I only get hits, so maybe the 50 cals touched him a little bit. And now I go in for a dogfight with this BF-109K4. I put my landing flaps on, and I come extremely close to losing my plane, and I get a nice little crit. Extremely risky. I would not recommend doing that. I really could only do that because the P51 was here, and the P51 made the BF-109 turn a little bit, and so I could shorten up my turn just that little bit and get onto his 6, or get that deflection shot, which only just worked. Now, I'm pretty sure this BF-109 is going to go down, so I just sort of chase after him, no wep, because my plane is overheating, to try and seal that deal. I thought, maybe he's going to go down, maybe the P51 is going to get him, and sure enough, yes, the P51 does come in and sneak that kill. That's an assist, but not to worry. It could potentially deny me from the ace in the future, but I'm not terribly fussed. Now, one of the things that the Tiger Cat is surprisingly good at is chasing down bombers. I end up chasing down this guy for a very, very long time. So let's have a little story time. I love a little story time with War Thunder videos. I think let's talk about the F7F about 3 years ago. Now, before air spawns were introduced in about 2016, the F7F was in a bit of a shitty spot. It didn't have any opportunity to climb, it couldn't turn, and it just didn't perform very well at all. It saw jets a lot, and the jets could outspeed it, and in some cases outturn it. So there was really nothing you could do as a Tiger Cat. And then the F7F-3 came out in late 2016, I believe, and everyone seemed to enjoy that quite a bit, mostly because it had an extra 150 horsepower, and it also had tiny TIMs, which means that you could take it out in ground forces, and it was quite effective. Now, at this point, the F7F didn't have any ordnance whatsoever, and it was a little bit difficult to try and use the Tiger Cat in ground forces. And so it's sort of been swept under the rug. No one's really talked about it until now. I actually haven't seen any gameplay of the F7F Tiger Cat for a good 3 years. The last person to do it was Mike Goes Boom when the F7F-3 came out, but the -1 I haven't seen since the Orange Doom. And that was literally years ago. So, how is it now that it's got, a little bit better performance in the air spawn, and it's got some ordnance? Well, I don't know about the ordnance, but the air spawn certainly does a really, really nice job of it. Not only that, but the lack of up tiers tends to favor it a little bit, but I'm sure that this plane would perform reasonably well against 262s. Hortons, I think you're going to start to struggle, but the F7F doesn't really need to, because it almost always sees a down tier. You can see me here against Heinkel 177s and BF-109K4s. I don't really need to face the enemies like the Horton or the 262 or the Arado, which can out-energy me for days. And that, for me, that helps the stock grind. The stock F7F is not amazing, but I'm sure when I get the engine injection, it'll turn the plane from a big pile of garbage into an absolute wonder plane. And that's pretty much the story of Tier 4 planes. You look at planes like the G56. For me, I used to absolutely despise it, but now I think it is one of my favorite planes in the game because I managed to get it spaded. And is that a really fair thing? I don't know. I think I'll leave it up to Gaijin to decide that. But for me, I'm happy to work with what I'm given. And what I'm given is the F7F. And you know what? If you can catch a Heinkel 177 in a straight line, in, low altitude dogfights where the F7F doesn't perform, and you're stock and they're probably spaded, you know what? that rapid closure distance is probably not too bad. I think I'll take that. And the fact that I have such good forward-facing armament means that I can do a lot of work when I have a space-climbing bomber, for example, even if I'm stock like I am now. And I think that's one of the things that I would like to personally see on every Air RB plane, or every aircraft in general, the ability to take out targets that, drain tickets. So, for example, planes that don't have any ordnance, like the F7F used to, can still strafe pillboxes. And planes like, for example, in-game, the MiG-19 really can't do that. So if you've got a plane going to space, I mean, the MiG-19 can technically come to space with it, and that's probably where the saving grace is. But other planes aren't so fortunate, and the F7F is one of those little shining jewels that is just able to do that. Now, back to the game. I've taken out the Heinkel 177, and I decide to go head on with a Junkers 288. Now, I have no idea how to fight this plane. I don't even know what offensive armament it has, and I decide to go in for a turn fight with it, and I didn't know that the 288 could do this. I think I'm going to have to buy this plane, because just look at him absolutely outmaneuver me, and he sets me on fire. Aren't I a lucky man? That's just one of the times where you gotta, just throw in the towel for the day, and go and play some, I don't know, farming simulator. There's not a whole lot that you can do. And well done to the 288. I think he's a subscriber of mine. So, if you're watching, screw you. But you deny me my ace. God damn it. I think we ended up winning that game, so it wasn't too much of an issue. We have plenty of allies around. And everyone's on pretty high energy states. So, anyway, ladies and gents, take care. Enjoy your stock grind, and I'll catch you next time.